All right, I'm excited.
All right, we are recording. I'm here with my boy Catalyst Bars, aka Stefan Rabinian, my favorite half Armenian, half Swedish white rapper. Are you a white rapper?
Um,
Being half Armenian?
I'd say I am. I'd say I am. You say I'm your favorite, but how many half Armenian and Swedish people do you even know, let alone rappers?
It doesn't matter. Just take the goddamn compliment.
Okay, cool. I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how's this quarantine been going for you? Which have you? Are you getting stir crazy? You're spending all day, every day. You live alone, so and you're unemployed like most of us. What's been going on in your world?
Um, yeah, getting a little stir crazy. Drinking a lot of alcohol, I'd say, is getting me through it. So here's a shout out to Bud Light. This is a free promo for you guys for the millions of people who are going to see this. It's free promo for them. Nah, man, I've just been at the house a lot, recording music, trying to remember to talk to my family. Because we could take the people we could take the people we love the most for granted sometimes. So I've been trying to talk to my mom and my brother and my best friends, and just really staying productive, working on stuff every day, and then also trying to figure out how to stay financially afloat. So I'm trying to do the unemployment thing and the tax returns and all the things I need to do. But yeah, I'm
Man,
hurting. I'm hurting, man. I'm down to my last few $100s here. So
I mean, that's why this podcast is going to blow up, and people are just going to give us $1 million after we drop our first very low quality, low production episode. They're just going to see the vision, and you'll never have to work a day in your life because of this conversation. So that's
I mean, it could stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened.
true, true. So what's out of all the what's your favorite moment in your music career? Would you say?
Oh, that's great. Wow, starting off with the heavy hitting questions here. The greatest moment in my music career so far is probably when the first time I did a team backpack cipher. Um,
So
so
10 years ago.
yes, it's been nothing but downhill since that moment.
Jesus,
uh,
dude.
no, I mean, team backpack is a thing that some of the listeners probably don't know, or the viewers. It's a thing that it's like a cipher series, and they MCs audition or get on in a certain way, or team backpack invites you, and you go up there with two other artists or three other artists, and you rap a verse to a beat, and people vote online on who they like the best, and it's completely live, and it's nerve-wracking, and you get one shot at it. And I auditioned and saw you on there before me and was inspired by what you were doing, and went on there and auditioned, and I got on. And then driving to San Francisco and showing up in that building, and it being kind of in the hood, and it being like a
Hey, that's
predominantly,
politically incorrect.
yeah, well, it's okay.
We prefer the term
It was
low income area. Okay.
yeah, yeah, it's fine, the hood. And it was a different crowd of people than I was used to performing in front of, and I hadn't really performed very much at all at that point in my life. And I felt like I did a good job. And then I just really remember the ride home after that verse, feeling very accomplished and happy, and feeling like I was on cloud nine, really. And that's a moment that I won't forget in my music career. And
It was I'll never forget that moment. I think that's one of the craziest moments in my music career, is seeing another white boy hop on Team Backpack and completely outshine me, because it's like dude, it's like being like the token black guy at an all white party. I felt like I was the token white guy, and we try to not bring race into it, but let's be honest, it plays a big role. When you're a white rapper, that's what they know you as, is the white
yeah,
boy who spits. So you coming on was like, I remember you you started off with firm, solid, spit real, superb knowledge, priceless. Jock couldn't buy it with Herb's wallet. Like, so
yeah.
many people know that verse word for word. It was like a crazy moment.
I wrote that in a bathroom in San Francisco, at my friend MC Wordplay's house,
Wow.
and I got the beat and I started writing immediately. And I literally was. It's funny that you bring this up. I was thinking about that verse the other day. I just remember writing that in a bathroom, and like that's all I cared about. I had to close the door and be by myself, and it was an interesting moment, man.
What would you say the biggest obstacle of being like 100% solo, like independent artist is? Like what's the hardest part, would you say?
I think it's not being able to bounce energies and vibes off of someone else. I really thrive when I'm working with people. So, especially at this time, when we're not really able to go outside and uh, interact with other people, it's like finding the inspiration. Um, I think that's the most difficult part. It's really cool to feel like you're on a team and a part of something. But you've been solo longer than me. What would you say is for you the biggest obstacle?
Oh, it's a good question. Even though it was my question, still a great question.
Well, sometimes you gotta deflect back. I feel like I've been talking too much, so I want to know.
No, I've been, so, I mean, for me, the main toughest obstacle is probably just having to do, pretty much having to do everything myself, and knowing that, like, me being as terrible, I'm like the worst businessman in the world. I like feel so uncomfortable and awkward asking people for money. Like, I just still don't think I should be getting paid for anything, but I should be for some things. And so
Yeah,
I think mixing the business with the creativity, because I love creating and I love making music and doing anything creative, but I hate business.
yeah.
But at the same time, I can't, I've tried to have managers and people like run the business, and it never works out. So I just need to,
Why do you feel like it never works out?
I just feel like having a manager feels like having a coach that I like, and it just would get to a point where every time I finished the song, I had to get my manager's approval and pray that my manager liked the song. And then if he liked the song, I'd be like, yes, it's good, and then put it out. So then it's like, why is my manager this guy who isn't even creative? Why does he have like the final say on whether or not a song should be put out? It should be
Right,
me. So
right.
that's how my situations have been. So I just have to be 100% solo in order for me to thrive. And it took me a long time to realize that, you know?
But that must be a really like liberating feeling to be able to do so much on your own without relying on anyone, you know?
Yeah, man, it is, but it's also like sad as fuck at the same time, because you don't get to celebrate your victories with anybody else. Like if I,
That's
make a song in my bedroom alone, put it out, and people are loving it, I'm just like, oh wait, I'm lonely as fuck. I'm gonna drink this beer, So I kind of envy your situation, because you work with producers, J Code, you and Alexi are like pretty much partners in this, and you guys like get to celebrate together and be on
yeah,
phone calls and give high fives and fuck
yeah.
women from Montreal in the same hotel room.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Sorry, not that, I mean, that's not a true story. I just
Yeah, you just made that up. Yeah, you
yeah.
made that up. Yeah, no, there are pros and cons to everything in this, especially in the music business. A lot of ups and downs, pros and cons. But yeah, I do wish I was more uh, self-sufficient, and was able to do more by myself. But it also, like I said, like when you asked me that question earlier, the hardest thing is to not have anyone to bounce vibes off of. It is great to celebrate the victories with a team. And when athletes retire, they always say, like, what's been the hardest part about retirement? They always say, like, not being around the guys, or for the women, not being around my girls. And it's just like,
Right.
we thrive as humans off of the team aspect of things. So I
Totally.
hear you, man. But I'll try and keep up with you, and we can do a digital high five and celebrate some of your victories. And I
Right.
mean, I know you're coming out with a new project soon, right? Or
Yeah, I'm doing a album April 17th. So I like, I'm excited because I like produced it myself, and I kind of like constructed a sound. But it's also releasing an album is like being naked for the world, but not like the sexy kind of naked. It's the, why the fuck is this guy naked right now? That's weird. That kind of the just overly vulnerable, exposing everything about you. And like, that's what this album is. A lot of it has to do with love. A lot of it is soft music. It's no 808s. It's not the type of shit that you're gonna listen
so
to.
basically, you made Kanye's 808s and Heartbreak with no 808s. Just Heartbreak.
Touche, my friend. My next question, a question I
Well, hold
wanted
on.
to ask.
Do you have any features? Speaking of working with people, do you have any features on your new album?
Yes, how could I forget the one feature on the whole album is the man who I'm talking to right now, Catalyst bars. It was
Yo, let's go.
and it was, yeah, that song means a lot to me just because like doing anytime I get to do a song with you, with my idol and with my idol in the rap game.
Yeah. Okay.
But also it's just it was just cool because that song we kind of like wrote together, and it was, we just vibed it out, and two heads are always better than one. So I think that one will be one of the ones that people like the most on the album. So
Yeah.
there's that. And then, oh yeah, a question I had is like, okay, all the, you've, you know, gotten some women, I don't want to like expose you too much, but you know, you're a single man, you've gotten women over the years, you get attention from ladies. I know I've had, yeah. How much does like how much does rapping help you with the ladies?
I don't know. When I really like a girl, I think it's easy for me to like, when I'm about to go on my first date with her, to remind myself of like some of the hardest moments I've had in music, and to say to myself like, hey, no matter how bad this date goes, or no matter how nervous I am, like I'm not going to be as nervous as I was when I did that team backpack cipher for that first time, or you know, I'm not going to be so like that is an easy thing to remind myself. And I think women and people in general are drawn to someone who has like a dream or something that they're going towards. And when they see you really putting in the time and energy and effort and being solely geared towards that, I think it's attractive. And, you know, they start to pull for you, and they you know, it's something that they admire. And I think that that's helped me with certain people that I've dated, that, you know, they've said to me, I wish I had something that I was going for like that. Or, you know, they kind of become a part of your journey and a part of your team. And it's can bring you closer to people. But I don't know. And then also just there's the advantage of like if you spit a verse or do a song or a video, and a girl likes it, it can makes you a little bit more attractive, because you have that artistic flair to you that maybe some other guys that they've dated don't necessarily have. But then again, we're in LA, so it's pretty much everyone's doing something creative. So
That's a good point, dude, because like I do so much better with the ladies when I'm just anywhere but LA. But because you're interesting being a rapper, but saying that you're an artist in LA, you're a cliche, and they're like, oh God, another one. I feel like if I were just like a basic ass 9-to-5er who worked in like tech, or not to say those people are basic, but they live kind of like, they lead normal lives, which is all good, but you're boring.
I drove Uber. I drove Uber before.
Hey, I'm a fucking 9-to-5er. I work a 9-to-5 TV job like everybody else. Like it's no shame in having a 9-to-5 at all.
No, there isn't. When I was an Uber driver in San Francisco, I picked up a lot of tech people, and would have really honest, you know, human discussions with them where I said, you know, we start to talk, and if they wanted to, you know, you can kind of tell when people want to and don't, but yeah, we'd start to talk, and I'd kind of tell them what I do, and then say that I kind of envy that they have such a regimented kind of life, and they know when they're getting their paychecks, and they get paid well, and they have more freedom and stuff like that. And then, you know, they would say to me, you know, I truly, truly envy you have something creative you're going for that isn't like that, and is more kind of free, and you don't know what's going to happen. And that kind of wondering of, and that chase is something that they envy. So I guess there's, you know, every cliche is there for a reason. And I guess the grass is always greener on the other side, you know, but
true. But you could have green grass. You could be on both sides of the green grass by having a 9-to-5 job, and then using the money you're making from your 9-to-5 job to fund your dream that you're doing when you get off your 9-to-5. And hopefully you get a 9-to-5 where you can maybe work from home and be flexible. And that's what I've done over the last year, is like, just like, and I know you do that shit too with your, you make good money at the restaurant and put a lot of that into your career. So it's like, if you could just find a way to just being like being super broke is just not, like the struggle artist sleeping on couches. I get that's like the romantic story. The guy was on the streets just playing music. It's like, yeah, but he probably would have blown up faster if he got a job. And then again, but here's the thing. Sorry, I'm just kind of all over the place here. But there are people who can't compartmentalize, and they need to, if they want to do music, that's the only thing they can do. They can't have any other distractions in their life. So they turn to like selling drugs, or like, you know, telling their rich parents like, hey, I'm not going to have a job for 2 years. Just give me $200,000 and I'm going to blow up as a rapper.
Yeah.
Which is another thing I wanted to point out is like, dude, LA, have you realized this about LA? Where like a lot of these people chasing dreams have like mommy and daddy money. I don't know if I'm like making an excuse for myself, but I feel like that's an observation that is pretty astute. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think there's a lot of people getting financial help from many different places, and you just, sometimes I think it's really earned, and maybe they got some kind of deal or something, and then I think other times it's like you said, it's they have something in their family that's helping them, and I haven't had a whole lot of family help in my life, but I've had a little bit, and it's I don't know. It's hard to tell where anything's coming from with anyone. It's such a great area with musicians, man. Like
Oh my
a
God.
lot of times I've heard from a lot of industry people that like a lot of even these bigger artists, like a lot of their plays aren't
Real.
100% real.
Yeah.
So as tough as it is to put something out, and I know that you go through this too, to put
Mhm.
something out and it gets 1,000 plays in a week, and you're like, wow,
I'm just going to go kill myself now.
yeah, I'm gonna go kill myself.
I'm
And
going to
oh
go.
man, Drake, like the one person you should never compare yourself to is the
Yeah.
biggest person in the game. But you'll be like, Drake released his video and got his new video and got 1,000 plays in 30 seconds. Like it's tough, and you have to be resilient, and you have to be hopeful. You have to have hope.
I think that's a really good point. I think the worst thing you could do as an artist or just as a human is compare yourself to other people's success, especially like you say with this Spotify shit. For a long time, it was driving me crazy because I would see other artists that I knew that I was more established than, and I would like look at their streams and their plays, and I'm like, there's no way you have that many people listening to your. It irritated me, and I'm like, what are they doing that I'm not? I know my music's better than these fuckers, and I totally was a hater. And I admit that I sounded like a hater, and I was probably bitter and jealous. But then I started to realize a lot of those plays are fake. A lot of people, like if somebody goes from 50,000 monthly listeners to 4,000 monthly listeners in the span of 3 weeks, something's not right there.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
so a lot of that shit is just inflated, and the worst thing you could do is just compare yourself to just look at other people's numbers and then just assume that they're doing better than you and doing something
yeah.
that you're not. It's just like,
But the funny thing is it makes sense when you hear the song and the song's really good, and you're like, all right, I understand why this kind of took off, and good for them. Like it's a great song, but like when the song is just like, I don't know, this song is all right. I know it's a very subjective thought process, but it's kind of like when it doesn't make sense and everything points to what you kind of said, and then the listeners go from a dramatic number to a low number. It's kind of like you just kind of have to know just where your money's going. But we're all kind of in this rat race together, and we're all trying different things. So I don't think it hurts to pay for promo, but it's important to, when you pay for promo, kind of recognize the lasting effect that it has. I
right.
compare it to a billboard, and this is something I think it's important for people to hear. I compare it to a billboard. A lot of times you'll be driving and you'll pass a billboard. So look at your song like it's a billboard, okay? A lot of people are giving you a listen. So the numbers are going up, the monthly listeners are going up. But how many people after passing your billboard are going, oh, 1-800 blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm actually going to check on that, or I'm actually going to check on their website. Like,
Right.
you don't want to pay for a billboard that people are going to pass by and see it for a second and keep going on with their day. You kind of want to lock in people. So in a way, the digital, promotional marketplace is somewhat of a billboard, and you want your billboard to be one that resonates with people and brings in real people. But a lot of times it's just for lack of a better term, it's just a fart in the wind that people people
Yeah.
pass by it, and they're just,
Dude, that's a really good point. And it's like the main number that you should be worried about is how many people are buying your t-shirts and how many people are buying tickets to your concerts. And if your Spotify streams aren't translating to people, to actual fans who are going to support you by giving you money, then
yeah,
then it's like you're rich in Monopoly money. That's what having a lot of Spotify streams is. So,
yeah.
um,
I have a
but
friend who makes rock music in San Francisco, and he's told me about
Aftershock,
bands. Yeah, yeah,
shout out Aftershock.
yeah. Well, he's in a band called Nairi, and he's a really cool guy. He's one of the friends of my life that's super brutally honest with me. but we talk all the time about music and stuff. And quickly what he's kind of said to me is like, there are bands and groups out there that have less followers than both of us, like not a lot. And they have such a legit fan base that loves their stuff that when they throw a show, there's always going to be 50 to 100 people there. And honestly, where I am in my life, I would trade that for all the listeners and all this stuff. If I knew that every time I threw a show, 100 people were going to show up.
Right.
I could do that in every major city, like most major cities in the United States. Then to me, that would be victory,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what is, I had a question because I had a question about like something that I think about is how much like popularity versus like quality of a song. How much does like a song's popularity, do you think, affect like the listener's opinion of the song? Like, do you think like when somebody goes to Spotify page and they see are they just automatically clicking on the most played song? I mean,
I think that's a really good question. I think it depends on what kind of fans you want to have or what kind of people are seeing that. There are people who just kind of like see a big number and want to check it out, rightfully so. And then there are also people who see a low number and they want to be one of your first fans. They want to look at you and feel like following you and supporting you is something that they have that not a lot of people do. It's the old story of like an artist gets super famous and that one fan is like, well, I was here before all the, and as cliche as that is, it's like, it's some people really that resonates with them and they want to be part of your initial original fan base. I think it depends on what kind of people are viewing it. And it depends just on, a lot of factors. But at the end of the day, we hope as artists that it resonates with as many people as possible. So if people are going to go to a song and like it for whatever reason, you kind of want as many people to like it as possible. So I guess you want to have the high number, but you also need to recognize that people look at you and they consider you like a cool secret. And that's also something that's fun,
That's so true. I have like a few bands that I listen to that none of my friends have heard of them. They're pretty low key, they're kind of like the indie bands, and I don't show anybody their music because I just feel this personal deep connection to them, knowing that they're mine. And it's kind of selfish because like you want bands that you support, you want them to do better, and I feel like I should be spreading them, sharing them more, but I just don't think that other people are going to have the same like emotional connection. And I'll just say the band that I listen to all the time is a band called Turnover. I saw them at Coachella, and this is actually a funny story. I was at Coachella, and Coachella literally just paints a picture on the worst shit of like what's wrong with society today. And I'm not talking about the artists, because you have the best musicians in the world performing at Coachella, having their big moment on the stage, and then you cut to the audiences and it's all just these fucking IG thoughts, not giving a I sound like an old grumpy man because I fucking am. I don't care. Just these IG thoughts, not really in the moment, not giving a shit, only there because they want the big photo and they want their Instagram. And then you do have like the music lovers, but like when I was there, like I saw Shaq West, the guy, the Mo Bamba, like and I watched his concert, and it was one of the saddest things I'd ever seen in my life, because this guy, here he is, young artist, he blew up off that one song. He's at Coachella stage, he's performing 8 songs. The first 7 songs, people, the crowd, the entire time were just chanting Mo Bamba, because nobody gave a shit about his other songs. They were kind of whack, but that's not the point. Nobody gave a shit about his other songs. All they wanted to do was hear Mo Bamba, and nobody cared about him. They just cared about the one song he made. And I just like had that realization, like I don't want a hit song that gets that big, because I don't want to just be known for this one song, because like in actuality, he's probably not going to eclipse Mo Bamba. I mean, I hope he does, but given it's hard to say.
I think the term one hit wonder has kind of died off a little bit, but I think every artist knows that it's still a prevalent theme.
Yeah.
And if you have one song that takes off, there is that fear deep down inside, like, wow, I wonder if I can ever do this again. And I think it's just the work you put into it. I think if people put in nonstop work into being creative and innovative and doing more, there's a chance that they'll get that second hit, and then they get the second hit, they get the third hit, whatever.
Right.
But
That's a good point.
there still is such thing as a one-hit wonder,
And the thing is, be honest, did you think Post Malone was going to be a one-hit wonder? Because I saw that shit. I saw the White Iverson, and I was like, wow, like this guy better enjoy it because this is it for him. And then he's the biggest artist in the world. It's crazy.
Yeah. I saw Post Malone live well before any of his fame. Crazy story, man. I was in Oakland at the New Parish, and Marky Basie was performing, and Marky Basie was not opening up, but was like part of the acts. And
wow.
Post Malone was like the headliner, and he went on, and I remember standing there watching him and being like, all right, this guy's pretty good. Like his live performance didn't blow me away, and he's obviously grown a lot since then.
Yeah.
But I remember just being like, man, I don't know, like, my friend Billion told me like he's got this one big hit right now, and he did that song like 3 times. He did White Iverson. Yeah. And every time he did it, people reacted and it went good for him. And, I didn't, necessarily think he'd be as big as he is now. I thought, he'd grow, but more power to him. He's just an example of someone who I think put in that work and that time and that effort, and, made the, then Celebration came, and then, Rockstar came with Rockstar, which just became the most annoying song ever because it was on the radio 6 times a day. Yeah. But yeah, he did it, and now he's considered, like you said, one of the biggest artists in the world. So
crazy, man. Yeah, it's like it's kind of nice though, like being an artist and not. So I feel like right now I've reached a level where actually wait I'll finish this thought, and then I want to finish the Coachella story. Well, anyways, yeah, I'm all over the place. Sorry. So I watched the Mo Bamba thing, and I was coming down off Molly, or I was in between Molly because I had just taken a new Molly, but I had taken a Molly 5 hours ago. So
I've never tried this.
Oh, you got to do Molly, bro. It's great. So I was, I was in between my Molly trips, and it was just and then I had these, I just felt so bad for the Mo Bamba guy. I was like, he doesn't deserve this. Like he was just up there and nobody gave a shit. And then, so then I left. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I had to leave. And I plan on just leaving Coachella because it was just too much for me seeing all these people and the Instagram, and they're just so.
Who were you with?
I was with just a few friends. I think you met them, like my friend Marco.
Okay.
Marco
so you were at least, because when you're telling this story, I just picture you alone for some reason.
Well, I did. I know I left my crew and I was alone, and they're still mad at me. I just was wandering Coachella alone. And then I'm just start to think about the rap game. And I'm like, God, the music industry is so fucked right now. And and then these fans, this is horrible. And then I hear this beautiful music coming out of a tent, and I'm like, what is this? And then I walk in, and I watch this band, and I'm just blown away by how good they are. And then I asked people, I was like, what band is this? And they're like, oh, this is Turnover, dude. You got to check them out. And I just felt there weren't many people at the stage, but I just felt that everybody watching them was a big Turnover fan. And it just made me realize it was just the perfect juxtaposition of being the super popular, rapper who has a one song that everybody turns up to versus a band that maybe not as many people know, but everybody who does know them loves them, and they just have this solid fan base that will never let them tank or flop.
That's going back to what we were talking about earlier with what my friend Tigran told me. Just there are some artists who might be smaller on a smaller stage than Sheck West, but they probably feel so fulfilled in how their fan base is growing and what they're doing.
Oh my God, dude. I mean, yeah, I have 60,000 Instagram followers, but I envy people with but there are people with 3,000, 4,000 Instagram followers who make music for a living and have real fans. And I would trade my fucking all the girls I've banged through my Instagram page. I would trade that well, maybe there were 3 of them that I wouldn't trade, but how
many girls do you think you banged through your Instagram page? Give me a number here. Give me a body count.
So what you're asking me is how many girls have I banged over since I was on Are You the One over the last 3 years?
Yeah,
it's not that many, honestly. I'm not
come on. This is
okay. You want me to give you a ballpark? How many girls have I banged through my Instagram page? I want to say maybe 40 to 50. That's not, I mean, dude, the thing is, okay, to some people, oh my God, he's a whore. He has herpes. But like, I just watched an interview with Dan Bilzerian, who admitted to fucking thousands and thousands of girls and said he fucked like 9 girls in one day before. So I think I'm pretty tame.
How do you even fuck 9 girls in one day? What
I
kind of?
don't, dude, he actually said, he was like, on the 9th time, I didn't want to do it. And I was so exhausted, but it was just like, it was the principle of it. Like, why say no to a girl, you know?
I'm surprised he didn't try to get to 10.
Right. Yeah.
Man, I don't even think I've banged 2 different girls in one day, let alone 9. That's pretty
Dude,
crazy.
I had a friend, I'm not going to expose him, but one of my friends was like, yeah, I normally have sex with 3 girls a day. He's like, the way I do it. And he's like, this is the way I do it. He's like, and he had this whole thing. He's like, so I start off with the girl who spent the night before. I start off by fucking her in the morning. And then before she leaves to go to class or work or yoga instructor, or whatever the hell it is. So he fucks her in the morning and then does his thing, you know, goes to the gym, it just lives the life of a hot guy in LA, whatever they do. I don't know. And then at 2 PM, he like, you know, finds a girl like who in between teaching fitness classes wants to stop by for a quick little afternoon quickie. So he had the one in the morning, then he has the girl who stops by for the afternoon quickie. And then after that, then he puts in the work to try to find the girl who wants to come spend the night that night. And then they fuck that night. And then that girl is the same girl who he's fucking the next morning. And then the cycle continues.
Wow.
So it's just like he had this whole thing. I'm like, man, I really feel like a nun compared to you.
You think someone who needs to do that has some problems going on emotionally?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. I mean,
because the other day I was walking and listening to music with my headphones on, and I was just getting real, you know, as we all do sometimes, just really introspectively into my life and what I need to be doing and what makes me happy. And I literally thought, like, I want to be celibate for a year and just see how that goes for me. Where will and like, I don't know if that includes masturbating too. Like, I don't know if I'd be able to just not bust a nut for a year, but I just feel like, man, that would probably change my thoughts on what's important in life a lot, and would probably be hard. But I mean, they say it takes 21 days to break an old habit or create a new one. So if I went 21 days, you know,
without having sex
and without even busting a nut, period. No nut November, you know?
Man, the thing is, I could see the no having sex, but I just think masturbation should be like, I feel like you should legally be obligated to masturbate once a day, because it's good for your mental health, and it helps calm you. It's like a drug for me. And that's something
I think like if we could think of assholes in history, you know, it's probably the people who didn't masturbate.
Yeah.
Assholes. Like, I don't think Hitler ever rubbed one out, because who thinks to just, you know, like exterminate human beings? You know what I mean? It's probably some guy who hasn't busted a nut in a while, you know?
That's a really good, yeah. Maybe Hitler never got taught, or maybe Hitler's parents told him that like jacking off was bad because, you know.
I thought you were going to say he got taught. I thought you were going to say maybe Hitler never got tossed. Like, he never got his salad tossed.
Yeah, well, he for sure never got his salad tossed.
I mean, he had a wife, but that was probably after his power. So he probably, you know.
He definitely didn't. I don't think his wife fucked him. Or I don't think I think his wife was really bad at sex, and that's why he killed all those Jews. I don't know, though.
Possibility. Do you ever think that guy ever just woke up one day? Like, talk about somebody who needed to take Molly or acid or something. Like, do you think if they just sat Hitler in a room and just gave him some acid and we're like, chill for a little bit, bro, go out to wilderness? Like, do you think maybe he would have just been like, man, what the fuck am I doing?
Absolutely. Marijuana, acid, just anything that can alter your mind, because like there's no way that his mind can get more evil. So only good things are going to happen from altering that man's mind. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think everyone in this world, all these dueling nations, all these terrorists, everyone in the world. I think I saw this on Joe Rogan. You might have said this or something. So I'm going to echo this statement. I think everyone should be required to have like a 1 day in the world acid trip altogether. Like, everyone's taking acid today. Doesn't matter who you are, you know, like, not enough to like fuck up your mind forever, but like, here's a couple of little, you know, I don't even know how acid works.
Microdose, dude. microdosing should for sure be, and I think in 10 years, like like mushrooms are gonna be legalized and people are gonna be popping them, just like smoke a joint, do a little mushroom thing. I mean,
What's your favorite drug?
oh, that's a great question, dude. I'm a big drug. I'm not like I do moderation. I hate
Yeah,
to say this.
you don't come off as someone who's like off the
I'm not an addict, but thank God I'm not an addict, because holy shit, I love drugs. If I like had an addictive personality, then but I would say my favorite drug is for sure acid, because acid is the drug that it doesn't feel like cocaine is super fun, but there's always a come down. With acid, there's never really a come down, and it's just like 8 hours of just like enjoying nature. Like I took acid and went to I was in Boston and went to Walden Pond and just walked around and just was amazed. It's like it was better than the best movie you could ever imagine. You're just staring at a tree and just amazed at its beauty. So because the
I
world
haven't
is
done enough drugs in my life, man.
bro, the world is such a beautiful place if you actually like look around and enjoy it. And we're just so like, we're just looking at screens all day and we kind of forget how beautiful it is. So acid for me like is a constant reminder of like the Coldplay song, "We live in a beautiful world," which is "Don't Panic" by Coldplay. Fucking love that song. But yeah, no, we live in a beautiful world, dude. So acid. What about you? What's your favorite drug?
Well, see, the thing is about it is I haven't done enough drugs in my life to where like,
That'll keep hanging out with me and that'll change.
yeah, no, I really, really want to do acid. I just want it to be the right time. But I need to stop thinking about that. I need to just realize there's not going to be a right time. And I
Yeah.
think I need to have like an experience with myself where I kind of have a trip and whatever. I did do mushrooms once. That wasn't great. That's a great story, so I'm going to tell it really quickly. 4th of July, I'm driving Uber now in Los Angeles, not in San Francisco. I pick up these 3 girls, hot, man. Like all of them were hot. And one of them in particular I really liked. Whatever. We had a conversation. They liked me. They said, "Do you want to come to this party with us?" Sure. So I go to this party. I'm having beers. I'm hanging out. I turn off my Uber app. I'm like, I'm in LA. I'm new here. This is like my first 2 months in LA. I'm like, I'm new here. Let's have some fun.
Hell
And they gave
yeah.
me mushrooms, and I ate the
Bro,
mushrooms.
bro, this is a movie plot right here.
Oh yeah. So they gave me mushrooms. I rapped for them. They liked my rap. I ate the mushrooms, and I caught myself. We went to another party, and I caught myself at the party where I literally looked around, and I'm like, I don't know a single person here. I've never had I don't know anybody here other than these girls, and I just met them. And I was watching fireworks, and this is at a time in my life I was supposed to go to Norway to meet this girl that I'd been talking to via Skype for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like a month away from meeting her for the first time. And I remember feeling very like scared about that, but at home with that I was going to have that experience. And the next thing I know, I'm around a group full of strangers. The next thing I know, I'm looking up at the fireworks on 4th of July in LA, and my face is wet, and I was crying. And we looked around, and I'm like, maybe I don't need to be doing psychedelic drugs. I have demons in me.
I mean, dude, crying is always a good thing, though. It's good that you cry.
Yeah. It is. It's therapeutic and cleansing. But anyways, I went to an after party with them. It got weird, and I never really talked to any of them again.
That's perfect that you haven't talked to them, because that being your only memory with that group, that's so epic. Like I always say, like I don't possess people, I possess the moments I have with them. So sometimes just people who come in and out of your life, like we need to stop forcing our way into their life. If you had a great weekend at Coachella.
One of the girls was so hot, and she hit me up like months later and was like, "How was Norway?" And I'm like, by the way, I never went to Norway. The girl, 4 days before I was supposed to go, the girl called me and told me not to go, and then had a boyfriend. She might still have a boyfriend. I don't know. I haven't talked to her since. But
hey, do you know, if you got to let the universe do its thing. If it's meant to be, it will be, as cliche as that sounds. But the coolest shit with that is like if you just like happen to run into that girl at a party or like in LA, then that's when you know, like, okay, this is meant to be. We're gonna date and try this shit out.
Are you talking about the Norway girl? Are you talking about the
mushroom girl?
Okay, well, the mushroom girl, I did meet up with her.
Oh, okay.
She called me, and I like, she's like, like she knew I drove for Uber. So she's like, can you help me do some things and I'll pay you? So she gave me like $20, which I didn't care about. I just wanted to hang out with this hot girl. And we drove around and I helped her do some errands. And of course, the self-conscious part of my mind was like, does she like me? Because she told me, she's like, I'm into you. Like, I don't know why. I just felt the need to call you and see how you're doing. But the self-conscious part of my mind was like, is she into me or does she just need a car to do favors? So I did the stupidest thing that
Oh
a man
my
could do and
God.
asked her, like, are you into me or did you just want
Oh,
me to try? I know, right? I know, it's so bad. And then she called me over one night and said, I need someone to talk to. And I got to her house, her apartment, and she said she was alone. She's like, I need someone to talk to. Come over. No, we're not going to hook up. And of course, I'm like, sure. Like, you know, in the back of my mind, like, we are going to hook up. So I went over there and I get there and there's like 5 people there. And there's a stripper pole in the middle of her house. And there's a cat there that has no hair, right? And the cat's just like mulling around, like being weird. And I'm like petting the cat. And I'm like, she's like, rap. And I'm like, I'm not. And I'm like, they're all doing coke. And they offered me coke a bunch of times. And I didn't want to do it. And then it came down to just me and this one guy and her. And I thought in my mind, all right, when this guy leaves, I'm going to be able to finally spend some quality time with this girl. And then I stopped and I'm like,
AKA smash.
yeah. And I stopped and I'm like, this is a weird situation. Why did she invite me up? Why did she say and I thought of all these things and I'm like, I'm not playing this game where I stay and I wait for this guy to leave. So I literally just looked at her and I said, I got to go. And then that is when I have never talked to her since.
Damn.
But I wonder what she's doing now. I don't even remember what her name was. She was hot. And the hot thing about her is she was like a goth chick. So she was like, you know, dressed in a certain way and was like a hot. There's nothing as good to me as a hot goth chick.
As a hot goth, but not too goth, like not like everything's black, just like the perfect amount of goth.
The perfect amount of goth.
Like she's got like black hair with like a green streak, and you know, she wears boots and she like really loves music.
Boots.
And yeah, and she loves like Marilyn Manson.
If you title this stream any title, the title of the stream should be the perfect amount of goth. That will hook. That will hook people. I mean, they'll have to get really far into the convo to get there.
Yeah. Hey, we could get people. If people are still listening right now, shout out to you. I'm amazed that anybody would still be listening. Actually, I think this has been a fun convo. But I think that the meeting's gonna end soon. So, is there any like last words you wanted to say? Anything you wanted to plug? Any last send off advice? Anything like that?
I just released an EP. It's called Stay Home. It's all about my experience with this whole quarantine situation. Some might call it, you know, cliche or say that I'm taking advantage of a situation that's negative. To me, I mean, that's another thing we could talk about for hours. But for me, it's like I'm just detailing my experience of what I'm going through. And when there's an elephant in the room, I'm usually the kind of guy who addresses it. The big elephant in the room is us being all stuck at home and having to live a different kind of life than we're used to. So I kind of talk about my experiences with that, how it's affected my relationships, the sensationalism of the media and everything kind of intertwined and how it's affected me. I released it and I want people to who are checking this out to go give it a listen and let me know what you think and give me some, you know, give me some real feedback. I'm open to it. I think people are so quick to pat us on the back all the time. And I really respect people who will contact me and say, hey man, I listened to this and as an artist, this connected with me and this didn't. And
right.
So it's never good to like base your career and what you're doing on other people's feedback, which we're never going to do. But it's good to hear people's honest feedback because I think you subconsciously compartmentalize it in your brain, and then it can help you in the future. And that's kind of what I want to say, and I want to wish everyone happiness and health and safety, and take this time to reflect on who you are and grow from it. And that's kind of the last thing I want to say. And I just want to say thank you for inviting me to do this, man.
Yeah.
You're a great friend. I love you a lot. And me and you have the kind of friendship where we are real with each other. So totally. I respect that and appreciate it. And I really wanted to talk to you more about drugs. And I know you went to Vietnam by yourself and had a whole trip. And
I wasn't by myself. I was with 12 other people, but yeah, we did acid in Vietnam.
Well, you always seem to venture off by yourself, which is a cool thing.
Yeah, I every time I'm in a group setting, I'll just kind of spend an hour or so to just be by myself and reflect. I thrive when I'm alone. That's why like this quarantine shit is pretty much the best thing to ever happen to me. But then I really feel for the extroverts who like need to be around people and need to hug people. Like I don't hug people. I'm not a very affectionate person. So life hasn't changed for me that much, but like, yeah, I'm feeling for the people who love just other people's energy. I don't. I like my own energy, and I like playing piano alone, and just fantasizing about girls I'm never gonna bone. I like doing that more than actually boning girls. It's more fun to just dream of Kendra Sunderland, watching her Instagram. Shout out to Kendra Sunderland.
Yeah, shout out Lana Rhodes. That's she's
Lana Rhodes. God, so many. Who's the other girl? Dude, who's that one porn star with the bangs? She was in like a David Dobrik vlog. Oh my God, she's so fucking hot. She has bangs and she's like young. Just it's not like, dude, the thing with girls, it's not how like conventionally hot they are with the eyes and the facial structure. It's just their vibe. That's what really turns me on about a girl is her smile and her aura. Like that shit is the most attractive. What would you say the most attractive thing about a girl is?
I honestly don't know. It varies so much, man, because you at first it's like, for me at first it's like, her confidence, her like, obviously her face and her body and her physical appearance, which sometimes makes me feel shallow, but I know for a relationship to last, that has to be something that's at least initially important. And then over time, it's just kind of like how much how many times do I want to call them to just say something crazy and see how they react and just to have a conversation with them and stuff like that. But I think that's an important theme for everything we've been talking about in music, in relationships, and everything. It's just like, it's so important to just, how does it vibe? And I tell everyone who talks to me about music,
right?
I'm always like, a lot of times when you're a small fish in a big pond like us, people don't care about your story. They don't know you. They don't care about anything. They just want to feel a vibe.
Right.
And that's how it is with almost everything in life. It's just how often do I feel a vibe with you?
That's why, dude, that's why people listen to music. They don't really listen. Very few people listen to music because they want to learn and they want to think. That's what they listen to podcasts for or read books for. Music is to take your mind off of shit and just feel. Dude, there's so much music without lyrics at all that people listen to, like the EDM stuff. So it's like I totally agree. It's all about the feeling, and that's what. To turn it back to me and my album, that's what I wanted to do with this album, is use my voice as, instead of just like a crazy lyricist, use my voice as an instrument on top of the other instruments on the song, and see how it kind of, and just make it one cohesive thing. Because before this album, all my songs, it was like the beat and the lyrics just felt so different from each other. It was like, this is a guy rapping over a beat. This album, it feels like this is a guy, singing or rapping with a beat, not on a beat, if that makes any sense.
Chance the Rapper spit one of my favorite lines ever that relates to what you're saying, and it's in the song, I think it's called Acid Rain, which is a great song, and great Acid Rap is a great album. But I think the song Acid Rain, he said, and lately all my verses, I think he said, I'll paraphrase, but he said, lately all my verses seem not so versy. And it's it's just what happens when you as a human being are just a vessel to communicate it, something that you're feeling.
Totally.
And when you do that, it's going to resonate with people. But when you're trying to write dope, I want to write the dopest verse. It usually never works out. But hey, man, that's just, the way that it goes. But I've heard your album and I'm proud of you, bro. I think it sounds amazing. I'm proud to be the only feature on it. And I think it's going to sit well with people. And if it doesn't, then it's just what we talked about earlier. Who cares about the results? It's something to be proud of.
Right.
I just want to know, this made me feel so good talking to you. Like, can we do this again? Maybe with like a guest next time or something?
Yeah, because we can have as many people as possible and we can record it. So next time, let's have me, you, and then a surprise guest.
I would love to keep this going and let's do this. Let's do this again, man. Maybe we need to create a YouTube channel for this and create a podcast name or something. And are we podcasters now? Is that what just happened?
That's what this is. This is a podcast. So what we'll do is next time we'll get your mic set up so you can, because I feel like this is just a cool aesthetic. It kind of looks legit talking into a mic.
Everybody has those Shure mics with the big black phone over the top.
Yeah,
I think that's what really is like. You're really doing it when you have one of those. But
but like this one, okay. When I look at Conan, and he has like a condenser mic that he puts in between him and the guest. So, yeah, nothing. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Well, it's 5 o'clock here. So,
I mean,
anyways,
I've been drinking every single day pretty much. I took a few days off and fuck it.
honestly, dude, just do you and don't let anybody tell you how to live your life. You're smart enough to know when you need to change or, if something.
Yeah, man, I haven't smoked. I haven't smoked in about 6 days now at all. So that's a good change. But yeah, doing you, I think, is an important for all of us, man. It's what's going to resonate the best with everyone is when you are fully 100% yourself, you can go to sleep at night and be happy that you are who you are. The friends you have in your life are really going to love you for who you are, and your art and everything that you want out of life, I think, is going to be in its best place when you just really are who you are, So keep drinking this Post Malone special Bud Light. Speaking of Post Malone,
hell yeah, we're gonna send it off on that, man. Thank you for joining us. We're gonna do this again. We'll call this Conversations with E-Money Cat. We'll find a name for it. Who fucking knows? But
hopefully something good.
Yeah, I'm excited to keep this going. All right, love you, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Love you too. Thanks for having me, man.
You got it, bro.